Hello guys. I I made this video because I'm concerned, and for the first time I'm making a political kind of view video, and I've been looking into that kind of situation for a little bit now, and pretty much it's disturbing. I mean, uh, you can probably see from the name of the video that we're going to be discussing. I'm going to be discussing actually the leaving or not leaving the EU for Britain, or as they call it, Brexit. Now, apparently there are cons and pros and everything, but let's analyze the current state of the UK. So does the current state of the European Union and the world overall, so we can pretty much realize where this is going to go. Now, you can see a lot of flyers and ads in websites made to convince people not to leave the EU. In a way that's true, in a way it's not. But the best thing, in my opinion, is they shouldn't. Why? Hear me out, and if you don't agree with me, dislike the video, whatever you want to do, at least comment your opinion. We would all like to know how do you see that, but I will present to you stone cold facts that are occurring as we speak. And okay, moving on. So, I come from Bulgaria. Bulgaria was for 40 years a communistic country, and strictly under the rules of the Soviet Union, pretty much ever since World War II. Now, what happened in '89? The communism fell, Bulgaria collapsed badly, because its main supporter, the Soviet Union, wasn't anymore its main supporter. Now, you would say, what does that have to do with UK? I'll get to that, so trust me, I'll get to that. Now, years later, fast forward to 2007, I'm finding myself working in Italy, and I'm born in 1984, by the way, so I see certain patterns. So before you know it, I started to notice something in the Italian economy that most of my friends and even my mother didn't notice, and I started to notice huge similarities with the Bulgaria of the early 90s, all the way up to 99. Slowly developing, but surely. And as you progress, you get more and more curious to see whether you're right or it's just a hunch or maybe a mistake. So, fast forward a few years to about 2010, 2011, Italy hit rock bottom. Why? Well, they were discussing going out, the European Union. In the same time, Italy was handling itself kinda immaturely, if you will. What do I mean? Well, there was fake handicapped people, which they're not. Most of them were unmasked, as, for example, a blind man who reads the paper crossing the street, looking left and right, and all of that was caught on video, and we're not talking about an isolated case, we're talking about hundreds. Then, constructions that never got built because of stopped funds. What does all of that has to do with Bulgaria and UK? Because Bulgaria had similar situations where funds couldn't be redirected to one huge construction that already ate thousands and thousands of euro in euro money, which didn't exist back in the 90s, at least for Bulgaria. It didn't. I don't know since when it exists, but same thing happened to Italy. So Italy hit rock bottom, and before you know it, you had Germany that invited immigrants to Europe, and they flooded Italy, which was already collapsing. They practically annihilated her. In the meantime, Greece decided to make its own sure escape from the crisis that was developing in the world at the time, and is still ongoing, with some kind of developments along the road. I mean, there is kind of progression, so to speak, to the better one. Also, within this time, Italy lost something that Eastern Europe won, like Moldavia, Bulgaria, Romania, Macedonia, Serbia. You'd ask what? Investments. And among other things, like factories. I'll tell you why. Even the smallest businessman will choose to survive rather than be a patriot and go down with his country, considering that it was his country to make the bad choices for him. So, when you have to feed a family and hundreds of workers, at one point you consider the opportunity to bail out while you still can, and some did exactly that. Bridgestone in the city of Bari, which is a huge company, they went to China. I mean, there is almost no production whatsoever happening there. Anyways, not to go in too much details, a lot of factories closed. Even Fiat was at its knees at one point. So, what happened with all the investors? The investors decided it's risky to invest in Italy anymore, which damaged the economy even further. The factories left, moved to Eastern Europe, where labor is cheaper, production is cheaper, they still sell abroad, but they make all their products there. They pay all their taxes there. They feed almost 90% of the workers are the local. What happened is Italy lost big time. They lost taxes from multi-million and billion-dollar companies that evaded while they still can. They bailed out and was stuck with thousands of workers without a job. First thing to fall down were the jobs in the factories. Second thing to fall down were state positions where you work for the government in whatsoever kind of job. Next was health department. Prices went up. Free medicine was no longer free, it was slightly paid, then next year it got even more paid, then next year it got even more paid, and so on. It was a chain reaction that is not stopping even now. I got my mother living over there, and her husband, who is Italian and worked 40 years as a postal clerk, had his payroll cut by 2/3. Basically, if he was taking 1,600 euro per month, he's now taking roughly around 600 euro, which is not even close to what you need to live or support a family. People cannot really afford the minimum, and if they can, it's with a huge struggle. Moving on, so we can reach our point. Same, without repeating myself, same thing happened to Bulgaria between 1991 roughly, up to 2006, 2007, if not even 2008, when we were already, since 2006, including with Romania, we were already part of the European Union. Investment started pouring in. Bulgaria started showing, well, we were picking up ourselves. And yeah, most of the Bulgarians travel abroad and work abroad, which is also a good thing, both for the Bulgarian and for the people abroad. I'll explain why. Because some people abroad think that foreigners are some kind of leech to their economy, which is not true. Currently, the UK has import-export with Europe that is roughly in between 44% of its total production. All the rest percent you can divide to the world. You may say, well, America will not allow UK to collapse. I mean, America is collapsing on itself, and it's in huge multi-billion debt with China. Aside that, we're not talking about America. So, people in UK, especially foreigners, do few essential stuff. First off, they create corridors, some of them businesses that support the economy over here, paying taxes over here, council taxes, road taxes, DVLA taxes, buying cars, selling cars. Should I continue? Yeah, I should, and I will. International shops bring food which is just as good. In fact, it's perfect. Trust me on that, because most of the foods that I found back that come from my home country, I know them very well, and you have to be with a medium income there to afford that one. But because of the levels and standards in the UK, you can afford that here cheaply. So it means you get high quality food for almost no price whatsoever. This will cease to exist, or will be drastically reduced by limits, by imposed limits, after eventual Brexit. Most of the workers will be left without a job, speaking for foreigners, but even locals. Now, you may say, good, foreigners without work, then we get more jobs. No, you don't. Because of that 44% that I mentioned earlier of import-export, that will go drastically below, because prices will go up, and many of the countries abroad will choose to decrease their needs for British products, or some of them will even cease to use them, and will go to alternative sources. Enough said. Anyways, so then what do foreigners do here? If they have skills, and they can prove their skills, or they achieve skills here, going to local schools, paying to local teachers, and eventually that going line in line in the economy as well, they get professional jobs. For the rest that don't have, well, let's call them unskilled, they work jobs that most of you would not work, at least not for the minimum wage. Some foreigners are even forced to work without contracts, with rates per hour between £2.50 and £4 maximum. Still, that's an abuse, but you know, they make a buck hardly, but they do. They don't complain, they work, they labor. Still, whatever is made by them will not be made by a local. Why? Which local will go to work for £2.50? Which local will go to work for £4 or $7.20 for 8-hour shift and has his break cut off and completely unpaid? Almost no health support whatsoever. Holidays, okay, that you get and you don't. I mean, it's questionable in many cases. So basically, people put up with that and they work because they want to do it. They want to be honest, they want to do something good with their life, and they're doing it. So far, so good. The work that these people make is the work that gives that economy stability and keeps these factories rolling, because they need workers, a lot of them. And like I said before, in many of the conditions, the workers are foreigners. Considering the way they're paid, that allows the factories to reduce prices for some products because they don't have as much as expenses. So families in the UK get to have strictly controlled products at lower price because of the lower labor. Should that change, factories will close, some of them. Other will decrease their production. Other again will move away, will bail out from that country. Other again will probably choose to hire locals, but on the price of you even have a lot of you have almost every local that wants to work has a work. So it's not like we're stealing the jobs out of anybody. So we're just taking what people don't like. Because in fact, I'm from time to time I'm even having managers of the production factory that I work calling me and practically begging me to go to work because there is no one that wants to do it, or there is people that kind of show up one day, don't show up another day. So overall, you're stuck with very precise calculations for that country to function the way it's functioning now. That's all about to change if a Brexit becomes a fact. You may say whatever you want, but I just presented to you facts. And before you start saying, no, it's not true, which eventually, even if you say no now, after years or so, you will come back to this video and you will say, holy mother of God, that really occurred. So, think about it. If you're a businessman and you have to choose between profit and loss, which one would you choose? If you have to choose between low paid labor and excessively paid labor, or even medium paid labor, which one would you choose? If you have to choose to stay here and let your business suffer, or move to another country where the situation is more fruitful, which one would you choose? Having all that in consideration, think about the implications of all of that those things occur, pretty soon the model of Bulgaria and Italy will occur even here. Roads will start to decay because of lack of funds, because of lack of taxes, because of lack of labor, because of lack of... It's a chain reaction. It's like a bomb after another, after another, after another. Many of the shops will close. Many of the little guys will close. Job centers and immigration agencies and whatever will be flooded with people seeking help financially, home-wise and whatever. This will come out of the taxpayers' money, because out of the EU you don't get any help from the EU. That will be alarm number one for whoever was left trying to save his business here and get the fuck out. Prices of the fuel will rocket skywards. We are even now witnessing some of the prices slightly going up, when the pound is actually dropping down. The value of the pound is going like this. Furthermore, you will get a whole lot of denied funds or lack of funds for the NHS, hospitals, schools, communal buildings, and it'll get worse, a lot worse. The cons: Britain will once again be independent, but hold it, wait. Britain is not really dependent on the European Union, as in you have to do this like Bulgaria, because Britain is an economic power, and as we specified until now, a lot of this economic power comes from the European Union. But still, Britain has a powerful voice, has the right of such, just like Germany, Sweden, and among other countries, France as well. Bulgaria not having much resources, we're forced to comply with rules from the European Union so we can stay. We still pay our fair share as a member, so it's not like we're a free member riding on someone's back. No one is such. There is no free thing in this world. So, in one point, this economic power will drop. I also found a few flyers, and I checked some of these statements, and they turned out to be true. I'd like to read a few of them, and you make your own decisions or conclusions or whatever. Stephen Hawking, on the 10th of March 2016, said, "Leaving the EU would be disaster for the science." Someone will say, what? Who cares about science? You should very well care, because finding cures to diseases and counterattacking new diseases actually happens through funding on science, which funding, as we already specified, will flummox. I mean, the government will really concentrate funding where it's actually needed, not in research that can take up to 10 years or in some cases even a lifetime to achieve, because of certain procedures that cannot be achieved within a year, within an hour. So, Francis O'Grady, TOC Central Secretary, said a Brexit would have massive implications for jobs, rights, and the very fabric of UK. If you take that floor away, workers will be worse off. Richard Branson, And if you don't know who he is, he's the owner of Virgin Media, who is one of the biggest media providers in the UK. Says leaving the EU would be very, very damaging to Great Britain. Simon Stevens, chief executive of the NHS England, said on the 22nd of May, just a couple of weeks ago, when the British economy sneezes, the NHS catches a cold, and this would be a terrible moment for that to happen. J.K. Rowling, author, I don't think the EU is perfect. I simply believe its benefits, not only economic, greatly outweigh the negatives. I mean, not repeating myself again, but we did discuss that the benefits are not only economic, but also labor-wise and support-wise and pretty much everything. Also the 22nd of May, that was the speech of J.K. Rowling. Mark Carney, Bank of England governor. These are the guys that actually work with your money. Let's see what they have to say. Leaving the EU is the biggest domestic risk to financial stability. It's like, it's like staying on a hill that is covered in ice, and instead of staying there until the ice melts, or trying to find alternative route without killing yourself, you just slide down into an abyss of nothing, of the unknown. But that's your choice, isn't it? I mean, every single one of us has a choice. As far as foreigners go, they will not stop because England will make a choice. Let's screw everything that we built. Foreigners will find alternative routes, alternative countries. Some will even go back home, and with that, they will take their money, the ones that they earned here, and instead of putting it in this economy, they'll be putting it in a different one, and that will be extra damage. Field Marshal Lord Bramall, former Chief of Defence Staff, we would be going backwards, not forwards, in what we set out to cure after the terrible tragedies of the Second World War. That would be a true statement. Martin Lewis, consumer champion. On balance of probability, it is more likely we'll have less money in our pockets if we vote to leave. So, after some extensive research, I also found out that most of the economy experts have reached to decision, which is basically about 8 to 9 out of 10 reached an idea or a conclusion, so to speak, that there will be almost no good out of a situation in a Brexit. Then again, let's learn a little bit what we get, what you get, but still, while we are here, what we all get combined. Over 3 million UK jobs are linked to our trade with the EU. 1 in every 10 jobs in this country. Second one, being in the EU means more growth in the UK. Overall, if we left the EU, UK households would be worse off by about £4,300 a year. Okay, it says Her Majesty Treasury said that. I'm not so sure if it's like that, because to have certain amounts like that, the whole family has to be working, but still, an amount such as that is a horrible blow to a family. Competition across the EU means lower prices in UK shops, which I told you about the international shops, and products coming from abroad, that some actually don't buy because they think that because the product is cheap, it's low quality. But I pretty much explained it's not. It's actually better quality than most of the products being produced here, but even we as foreigners, we take the local production, we take from our production, because this is life. You are part of the economy, and each and every one of you is very important nail in that's wooden staircase of economy. Take out a few nails and it all collapses. Competition across the EU means lower prices in UK shops, saving British households around £350 a year. Source: London School of Economics. 350 ain't enough, but me personally, I'd rather have 350 than lose 350. Or not. What would you think? Comment below, let me know. Are you willing to throw away just like that on £350 because of a logic that was imposed to you and you're not sure if that logic makes any sense or not? Anyways, leaving the EU would hit the UK economy and mean government spending cuts over £36 billion, meaning less money for the NHS. Source: HM Treasury, Her Majesty Treasury. They would know best what's going to happen, UK businesses can trade in a home market of 50 million consumers in the EU without tariffs or barriers. 44% of our exports go to the EU. Remember that little talk we had? I even actually make it, you can back up all of that information. You can pretty much go in Google, which is the easiest way to reach all kinds of different sources of information. You will really come to my conclusions, because I was actually skeptic about all of that, but once I got into some extensive research, pretty much shocked and worried, because I know what I've seen a couple of times before, and you're heading this way, guys. So, the UK gets 66 million of investments every day from EU countries. That's more than we pay to be a member of the EU. That was said from the Office of National Statistics. More than 200,000 British businesses trade with the EU. 200,000. That's like billions and billions and billions in taxes, labor, jobs. What would happen to all of that? Did you ever thought about it? Think about it now. Reflect before you act. This is not like you're taking the bus, going there, reaching the bus stop, saying, "Whoops, wrong stop," and you come back. Bail out now, and you're in a pickle. So as I was saying, more than 200,000 British businesses trade with the EU, helping them create jobs here in the UK. Source: Her Majesty, basically HMRC, Her Majesty Royal Customs, Revenue and Customs, was it? Yeah, I was trying to remember the acronym. Overall, I know there will be something positive, but it will be mostly negative. and I know that for certain. At least I hope I'm wrong, and I hope that whatever choices the UK citizens make, that it's good for them, because this is our home, as in temporarily, and we respect your homeland and your laws and your traditions, and we stay by that, all of us. But I'm really hoping that I don't get to see poor families follow the destiny, the recent past of Bulgaria and Italy, and on that matter, models that were repeated by Greece, nearly Cyprus, Spain, almost France. There are certain sheikhs in Germany as well. So, yeah. Anyways, consider all that. Think about all of that. Share your opinion in comments. Share this video. Like it. Subscribe. Let's all get to analyze the pros and cons. I'm not here to convince you to not do a Brexit. I'm here to convince you to make it count. To think before you act. This is like what your parents and the parents of everybody teaches us to do ever since we're little. Think twice before you do something. Think about it. And if you're then convinced that you're right, make your choice. Everybody has the freedom of choice. So, like it. Like this video, please. Share, subscribe. Comment, let us know your opinion, let us know your views, and let's hope for the best. Good luck to everybody, and peace.